So fine, let us start. So today we are going to start your history module. Okay. And I hope everyone should understand something, that this is not a regular classroom course. Yes, please. It's a rapid revision type of a course. I've been given somewhere around 20 hours. Idea on that? Did you get the schedule with you all? Okay. In 20 hours, you should imagine my difficulty as a teacher. I need to cover what all modules? I need to cover ancient India, medieval India, modern India, as well as art and culture. You can just imagine the amount of information that I need to give you all, right? Definitely a difficult task. So I'll really not be able to go into the depths of each of those topics, okay? So throughout the course, what I will try to do is try to give you all something called as a timeline. Timeline, when you talk about history, will timeline be important? Anyone can tell me why? Why do you think timeline will be important? Can I say it will give you kind of a framework and put everything in an orderly manner? And when you have the framework and order in your mind, will it then become easy for you to remember facts? Yes or no, please? Okay. And given that, see, rapid revision course kabatti, everyone understands Telugu. Is there anyone who doesn't understand Telugu at all? Class will be in English only. If everyone understands Telugu, here and there I can use my mother tongue. So here and there I might ask you some questions. Don't worry, I'll not ask any pinpointed questions, okay? If you can give me an answer, it will be a bit motivating for me as well, okay? So today we'll start with your ancient India. First start just a minute. Can anyone tell me, ancient India starts with which chapter? Think and tell properly. Ancient Indian history, we start from which chapter? Just to have a rough understanding of how you people are placed. So if I get an understanding where you stand, I can take things forward from there. Anyone can tell me, what is the first chapter of ancient Indian history? Indus Valley Civilization. Years chaptara? Indus Valley Civilization. Right?
2500.
Okay, 2600 వేసుకుందాం roughly. 2600 BC to 1500 వెళ్ళిపోతుందా 1900? Really speaking, it goes till 1900. 1500 వేసుకోవచ్చు. ఎప్పుడు even after the cities have fallen, you call it as the late Harappan or the post Harappan phase అని అంటామండి. Roughly till 1900 అనుకుందాం. 2600 to 1900. Next phase in Indian history. After the fall of Indus Valley Civilization, Vedic age, Vedic culture వస్తుందండి. That will go on for nearly 900 more years after that. Right? Nana? Mahajanapadas వస్తాయి. What is the importance of Mahajanapadas in Indian history? Kingdoms. And can I say they are the first ever full-fledged kingdoms in India? Mahajanapadas, first full-fledged kingdoms అని అంటాను నేను. Yes or no? Yes, they are the first time you have kings with armies and all these things, okay? Anyone knows anything about punch-marked coins? Punch-marked coins. Anyone can tell me in which period did we get the first punch-marked coins in Indian history? Right. Again, I'm not trying to test you people or anything, okay? No. Mahajanapada period లోనే వస్తాయండి. We are in Mahajanapada period, okay? That's why I'm asking this question. Indus Valley people were using any coins? Think and tell properly. Indus Valley civilization లో. But did they use anything like currency? Coins ఏమైనా వాడుతున్నారా? Can I call that Indus Valley trade as barter trade then? Yes, please. So the first coins which come in Indian history come during the Mahajanapada period. Okay? They are called as punch-marked coins. Anyone can tell me, why do you call them as punch-marked? Idea on them? Because the symbols, generally coins, can they be blank or there should be some symbols on coins? Some symbols must be there. Okay? They were generally not made out of moulding or casting. They were actually punched, beaten onto them. That's why you're calling them as punch-marked coins and antunam. You have an idea on the Karshapana?
Gold coin.
No, they're silver coins. Silver coins, Karshapanas. Gold coins, first time India introduced in evaru. Greeks, wonderful Indo-Greeks. And eventually gold coins got a particular name ఒక వర్డ్ తోని పిలుస్తాం మనం ఇండియన్ లో గోల్డ్ కాయిన్స్ ని. ఓకే, టు సమ్ ఎక్స్టెంట్. ఇంకా కరెక్ట్ తెలుసా, దినారాస్ అనేవాళ్ళు. విన్నారు ఎప్పుడన్నా దినారాస్? ఓకే, what I do generally, because this is a very small course, I can't go into the depths. Okay, కాబట్టి I said I will focus more on the timeline part. I'll give everything in an orderly manner so that you people will be able to connect the dots more easily. Okay, but for extra reference, when you want to study in depth, I will give all the handouts which I generally give for the regular course. Kiche handouts istanu. They'll be a bit bulky for you all. Okay, for some students here and there are those who have attended my previous classes. For those students, you need not require those handouts. For those who are seeing me for the first time, who have not listened to my regular course, for you people, my handouts will become very important. Okay, what are the common sources that you have been referring to ancient India? బుక్స్ రాడా మామూలుగా ఏ బుక్స్ చదువుతున్నారు? ఎన్సీఆర్టీ కూడా చదువుతుంటారు. చెప్తారా ఏ ఎన్సీఆర్టీ చదివారు? థీమ్స్ ఇన్ ఇండియన్ హిస్టరీ ఉంటుంది ఒకటి. థీమ్స్ ఇన్ ఇండియన్ హిస్టరీ. హ్యావ్ యూ కమ్ అక్రాస్ దట్ ఎన్సీఆర్టీ? వన్ ఆఫ్ ద వర్స్ట్ ఎన్సీఆర్టీస్ ఎవర్ రిటర్న్. చాలా గలీజ్గా రాశారు దాన్ని, నిజంగా చెప్పాలంటే అస్సలు మారాలేదండి. ఆర్ఎస్ శర్మ అని బుక్ ఉంటుంది ఏన్షియంట్ ఇండియా. మెడివల్ ఇండియాకి సతీష్ చంద్ర, మోడర్న్ ఇండియాకి బిపిన్ చంద్ర. దీస్ ఆర్ జనరలీ కాల్డ్ as ఓల్డ్ ఎన్సీఆర్టీస్ అంటారు వీటిని. ఓకే, అవి కొంచెం బాగుంటాయండి, దే ఆర్ గుడ్. But the problem is, again, language is too difficult. The beauty of these three books, R.S. Sharma, Bipin Chandra and Satish Chandra, they are in a chronological order lo untayi. Problem with new NCERTs like themes in Indian history అని ఉంటుంది. Worst case అండి, చాలా గలీజ్గా రాశారు దాన్ని. They have really not given good maintained that order and all. Some of you might have studied Tamil Nadu books చదువుకుంటారు. చదివారు ఏమన్నా? చదవలే? ఏం చదివిరబ్బా మరి? జనరల్ గా మామూలుగా కోచింగ్ మెటీరియల్స్ అవే చదువుకుంటారు ఏమన్నా? ఎన్సీఆర్టీస్ చదవాలండి. ఎన్సీఆర్టీస్ ఆర్ ఇంపార్టెంట్. ఓకే, హౌ మచ్ ఎవర్ యూ రిఫర్ టు బుక్స్ అవన్నిటికి ఎన్సీఆర్టీ చదవాలా. సో ద అడ్వాంటేజ్ యూ విల్ హ్యావ్ ఫ్రమ్ మై హ్యాండ్అవుట్స్ ఈస్ దట్ దోస్ హ్యాండ్అవుట్స్ ఆర్ బేస్డ్ ఆన్ ఎన్సీఆర్టీ. Definitely, I've added a lot of more material to that handouts, but still, if you can finish off my handouts, definitely they'll be as a ready reference for you all. Okay, so with that basic introduction, let us now start with our timeline for ancient India. Before that, one or two more questions. Most people, I want you people to be a bit interactive. Koncham don't know Telugu at all, don't worry. I'll try to keep it in English only here. Anyone can tell me, how do you define prehistory? Prehistory. Hey, మీరైనా చెప్పండి.
Sources. According to the sources.
ఒక రఫ్ డెఫినేషన్ అడిగినాను అంతే. No written. Prehistory refers to the period of society's past where writing has not yet been invented. Yes or no, please? As simple as that. Okay. Mare, how will you, when there are no written sources here, written sources levu, how will you understand what happened, how the people lived in the times? The only way we can find out is written లేదు కాబట్టి material remains ఒకటేనా. ఓకేనా? So what I do is, again, I can't give you a lot of time to dictate and all these things. I'll be writing some points on the board. If you find it's necessary, you can write it along with me. General ga, I'll put a big chart. Okay, India's past anesi rastuna. India's past. We are dividing it into two phases. Prehistory and history. There is another term called proto-history. Anyone can tell me what you mean by proto-history? Right.
There but not recorded.
Written sources are available, but you don't understand that script. So it's as good as not having that source at all. Okay. Does Indus Valley civilization fall under prehistory or history or proto-history? Proto-history. Why? Indus Valley script has not yet been deciphered. Okay. Right now, anyone can tell me what are the main components you will come across in prehistory? Prehistory undi. I can divide it into further stages nana. Stone age, వినుంటారు, Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic, ఇంకా Chalcolithic. తర్వాత బ్రాంజ్ వస్తుందండి. బ్రాంజ్ విల్ బి నాట్ పుట్ as part of Prehistory. You know why? In Bronze Age, we start getting scripts. So Bronze Age will be put as part of history. Paleolithic. Mesolithic. Neolithic. Chalcolithic. In which of these phases you find the first use of metal? Chalco. And what is that metal, please? Copper. When you add something to copper, it becomes bronze. What is that? Tin. Why do you need to add tin to copper? Copper is not a strong metal actually. It doesn't allow you to make very hard tools. So by adding a small amount of tin, copper becomes stronger in the form of bronze. Here I am writing two phases. Bronze Age and Iron Age. This is where you are going to get Indus Valley civilization and Indian history. And from here onwards, we will roughly start with the Vedic age onwards. Okay. Technically speaking, Nana, the prehistory portion is not a part of your syllabus. They must not ask questions from this section. Because what is there in syllabus is history, not prehistory. But you know what these people have done in the last few years? They are still asking a few questions from prehistory also. And the reason they are asking questions from prehistory is because they are mentioned clearly in your R.S. Sharma NCERT law. They are mentioned. In fact, Paleo, Meso, Neolithic, all of them are clubbed in one chapter. Whereas this one, they have a separate chapter for Chalcolithic. And the two questions that have come from all these four phases which I have written here, both the two questions have come from Chalcolithic. So I am putting a star mark for the Chalcolithic. Because they are not a part of your syllabus, I don't generally give handouts for this part. You will be having handouts from Indus Valley Nunchi onwards, you will have the handouts. Okay. I'm adding one more aspect to this prehistorical part. Generally, people neglect this part, but again, questions have been coming in the last few years from this part. Anyone can tell me there is another lithic, then megalithic and antarandi, correct? And write down this megalithic. And megalithic and people think megalithic is, when you look at this term, you feel it's a stone age. Lithic anagane stone antamu. But then actually it is not belonging to Stone Age. Megalithic is actually belonging to Iron Age. But even though it belongs to Iron Age, it is not covered under history. It is generally covered under prehistory. So especially for this one, I am writing it as Iron Age. I am writing in the brackets, megalithic. Only few of these parts I'm going to do in detail because I said there is no handout for this. This part I will deal in kind of timeline format. We will do that. Okay. Very fastly, we are writing some points for Paleo, Meso, Neo, Paleolithic. Anyone can tell me what is the style of life in this time? Fastly. Firstly, see, I expect some answers from your side also. Hunters and gathering lifestyle. People living in a hunting gathering lifestyle, they don't produce food. Okay, and they are not making nature give more food than what it is offering. So you simply call these people as food procurers or gatherers. And they simply survive on whatever nature is offering them. They do not sow seeds and create any new plants and all these things. Okay. In such kind of a society, will the population be very high or low? Low. Why? Amount of food availability itself is less. So naturally, population strength is also less. Low food availability. I'll be a bit fast, Nana, because there's a lot of paucity of time. On 20 hours, I'll have to do as much as possible. Low food availability, so populations will be small populations. Do these people stay at one place throughout the year? They are wanderer, nomadic. Nomadic, why? Why do you think Paleolithic people have to live a nomadic life?
Availability of food in one
Resources in a given area, the population survives. Whatever sources are there, they are going to consume and finish them off. So they have no other choice but to migrate to nearby areas. Okay, so they are essentially nomadic communities. Nomadic communities. Nomadic communities, do they need to really build permanent artificial shelters like houses? No. So these people, because they know even if they build that, it's waste because they're not going to stay there for long. Okay. So they is to generally either build some rough tents with animal skins and trees, branches and leaves, or they will sometimes simply use some natural caves. Anyone can tell me one important caves in India? Madhya Pradesh lo vastundandi, where you will find a lot of Paleolithic people. Bhimbetka, yes, please. In Madhya Pradesh you will get that. Okay. Next, a few more points. So these are small nomadic communities. Okay, they are not food producers, they are food procurers. Can I say that there is no concept of private property here? There is no private property. It is everything is owned by the community. Okay. And no one in the society says this is mine. They simply say this is ours. No private property. So it's simply you call it as communal ownership. And the entire community exercises ownership. No private property. Because there is no private property, can I say there is no inequality in the society? Everyone owns everything. Okay. So essentially from this only you get another point called they are classless society. Classless societies. Which means they are socially, you use the word called egalitarian societies. Socially egalitarian. What do you mean by egalitarian? Equal, no divisions and all these things. Okay, you understand this word? Don't write this one. Stratified society. Chandra, what do you mean by stratified society? A society which has divisions and hierarchy in between the different sections. Do you have any kind of stratification this time? No, please. So can I say they are unstratified societies? Yes, please. Okay. Next. These people, they are a classless society and they also don't have something. There was no ruler, no armies, etc. And for this reason, you call these societies as stateless societies. You call it as a stateless society because there is no king, there is no kingdom, there is no territory, there is no army. Okay. Now, for instance, to understand the term, again you need to understand the meaning of this term, state. Anyone can try to tell me what is a state? Difficult, but still if anyone wants to try, you can. State, how will you define a state? Don't say the units of India. Boundary should be there. A fixed territory must be there. A population must be there. There must be a person who exercises sovereign authority in that area, saying that I am the supreme authority within this territory. Now that person can exercise that supreme authority only when he has an army. When can you build an army? When that person can build an army? When there is so much of surplus in the society, a part of which that person will collect in the form of tax. Using that tax, that person will maintain an army, and then that person is going to claim that this territory is mine. I am the supreme authority in that territory. Only then you get something called as a state. Anyone can think and tell me from whatever knowledge you have previously, in which of these, that I put a chart over there, Paleo, Meso, Neo, Chalco and all these things. Bronze and Iron Age. When do you think the first ever states emerged? Guess couldn't try cheyandi. Iron Age lo vachinda, Bronze Age lo vachuntaya. Bronze Age also we get states. But the problem is they're not so full-fledged states. Definitely, if I ask you the first full-fledged states, definitely it is in Iron Age, and in the case of India, you call them as Mahajanapadas. How many of these you had? 16 Mahajanapadas. Okay. So here in this case, in Paleolithic times, will you have anything like state? So they are a stateless society and a sequence. Okay. Next, one or last aspects of this. The different types of tools used by the Paleolithic people. Anyone can tell me? Hand axe, cleavers, and vinuntaru. Hand axe, cleaver, choppers, etc. Have you heard anything like flake tools? Flake tools, blade tools, and essay. I'm just writing the rough evolution of tools in this period. Initially, they were called as core tools. Later on, they became flake tools. And finally, they give rise to very refined and very symmetrical tools called blade tools. And I'm going to write some important sites in India. Anyone can tell me some important sites for Paleolithic in India? Fastly. Bhimbetka okati inka. Try. Swan Valley. Where is Swan Valley? Correct. Swan Valley is one important prehistoric site. Paleolithic Punjab, Pakistan unandi. Today, present day Pakistan. That's where you get this Swan Valley. Any other place? I'll make you write some points. Write down some sites where you get this Paleolithic age. Swan Valley in Pakistan. Next, Didwana in Rajasthan. I'm making you write only a few sites which are mentioned in your NCERT. Otherwise, if you go on studying Paleolithic sites, there are nearly more than hundreds of sites. Now, at least those mentioned in NCERT, we need to memorize and go. Next, Belan Valley in Uttar Pradesh. Bhimbetka, Madhya Pradesh. Do you have any idea of two more places in Madhya Pradesh? Write down. Adamgarh and Hatunora. Anthropology students should be more aware of the place Hatunora. Anyone from here from anthro options? Question cheptara. Hatunora is important for some discovery. Narmada man winner eppadana? One fossil, a human fossil. It's considered most probably, if you have studied any human evolution, Homo habilis, Homo erectus, in that kind of that evolutionary scheme, we do find some fossils in India, particularly from the Narmada river. Okay, that was found in the place called Hatunora. Okay, and I'm not making you write that. For anthropology optional students, they must be aware. Next, the two more places in Tamil Nadu, both of them are important actually. Pallavaram and Attiram Pakkam. Attiram Pakkam, both of them in Tamil Nadu. Anyone knows who is the man who made this discovery? In fact, the tools that were found in Pallavaram and Attiram Pakkam have a significance. We have found so many Paleolithic sites from Swan Valley till there. Okay, but of all those Paleolithic sites, which is the first Paleolithic site to be discovered is these ones. Okay, and they were, I'm simply writing because they are special, I'm writing them. The first Paleolithic sites to be discovered, and they were done by, anyone can tell me the person's name? Correct, someone is saying Robert Bruce Foote. And for this reason, he is also given a title, Father of Indian Prehistory. Father of Indian Prehistory. And this discovery was done in the year 1863. Now. Okay. Okay. In this context, let me also discuss one more point. Which one? This Bruce Foot one. I'm just adding there itself. There's another person, most of you might have heard, come across his name. Alexander Cunningham. Anyone can tell me his importance?
Father of archaeological department and first DJ of
Archaeological Survey of India. So he was the founder of Archaeological Survey of India in the year 1861. The first Director General of that and the founder of that. And he is called Father of Indian Archaeology. I should not confuse between Robert Boosfoot and this man. He is father of Indian prehistory, whereas this guy is considered father of Indian archaeology and S&T. Next, one or two more sites in Paleolithic. It's coming from Andhra region. Winner eppadana? Have you heard of this? Muchatla Chintamanu Gavi. Muchatla Chintamanu Gavi. Near Karnool Caves in Andhra region. So these are some of the Paleolithic sites you have. Next, moving on to Mesolithic. Okay, by the way, see, I'll not have too much of time to discuss all the details I told. Okay, have you heard this thing like Pleistocene epoch? Pleistocene epoch. Winner? What is that? Anyone can tell me what kind of climates you have in Pleistocene epoch? It was Ice Age. Okay. So if anyone asks, if you are interested, the last point I'm writing in Paleolithic is the climatic conditions. Generally, I write it at the first beginning, but then because it's not a full-fledged class, I can't go into the depths of it. So I'm just making a mention because these words have been used in the NCERT. Pleistocene epoch, they have clearly mentioned it. So you call it as the Pleistocene epoch. What kind of climatic conditions prevailed during the Paleolithic time? Answer is Pleistocene. It is nothing but extremely cold climates, which you simply call it as an ice age. And does human life depend a lot on the climatic conditions? If climate changes, will humans have to adapt their lifestyle? Yes. And that's what you're really going to see in the time of Mesolithic. Mesolithic age. Here, what you really see is the climatic conditions, something is happening. From a Pleistocene type of a climatic conditions, it's being replaced by a new type of a climatic conditions, Holocene. What is happening here? I'm not saying it is replaced by, I'm simply saying being replaced. Is there a difference there? Being replaced. Yes, the climate changes started here, it's not completed, remember that, okay? When we go to Neolithic, can I say Holocene has completely come into a picture? Yes. Then in Neolithic you will say Pleistocene is not being replaced. Pleistocene was replaced completely, okay? Now when climate is changing, you will understand that flora and fauna also should change. Flora and fauna, what do you mean by flora and fauna? Plants and animals, will they have to adapt to new climatic conditions? So new type of plants and animals are emerging. So till now humans were used to one type of plants and animals, they were having one type of life, but now the plants and animals around them are changing. So these people also have to change their lifestyle, okay? And that's where these people are going to come out with a new way of life, and that's called, it's not simply hunting, gathering anymore. These people are going to experiment with a new lifestyle. Anyone can tell me what is the new lifestyle they're experimenting with? Domestication of animals. And they are feeling that instead of simply killing an animal, if you can domesticate that animal, will you get a longer benefits from that animal? Yes, please. Instead of simply eating the edible parts of plants, if you can take the seeds of that plant and sow the seeds, what is the advantage of that? If instead of simply eating the edible part of the plant and forgetting about the seed, if you can store the seed and sow it in the right time, what is the benefit that humans will get? Will they be able to create more amount of vegetarian food availability for themselves? Yes, please. So once humans start entering into the stage of domesticating animals and cultivating plants, can I call these people as food producers? At least they're trying, because they're not just satisfied with what nature is giving them. They're trying to create more than what nature is supplying them. Okay. So what you really find here is the new lifestyle is emerging. And I'm going to use a more technical term for that. It's called subsistence strategy. For those who do not know what is a subsistence strategy, it just means how a society obtains its food. Because without having food, no society can survive. Okay. So new subsistence strategy is now they are experimenting with cultivation of plants and domestication of animals. I am not saying they have taken up cultivation and domestication completely. What if I ask you what is the primary subsistence strategy used in the Mesolithic? Answer should be, looking at this, I am simply asking you a question. What is the main subsistence strategy in Mesolithic? It is still hunting, gathering. They are only experimenting with this new strategy. But once they see that this strategy has more benefits than the previous hunting, gathering, and in the next stage, can I say that will become the main subsistence strategy? Yes, please. But in this stage, if I ask you, the question still is primary strategy and hunting, gathering. They're only experimenting with this new strategy over here. Next, anyone knows the first animal to be domesticated? Dog. I'm not writing that. That's very commonly known the point. Tools. Obviously, tools will change because their lifestyle is changing. Anyone can tell me what is the most characteristic type tool type in Mesolithic? Microliths and antarante. The chinna chinna micro antane, the word itself is telling you these tools are very, very small. It's called microliths and antarante. Next, some sites we are going to write for Mesolithic. You have to memorize, you don't have any choice over there. Again, I'm writing a few list. Bagor and Tilwara. Bagor and Tilwara in Rajasthan. Langnaj in Gujarat. Langnaj in Gujarat. Sarai Nahar Rai, Uttar Pradesh, UP. Next, some again you'll definitely find in that continuation will be found in Bhimbetka. Bhimbetka will be going on. Bhimbetka, Madhya Pradesh. Next, some places in Karnataka, Sanganakallu. Sanganakallu, Karnataka. Tirunelveli. From that word itself you can tell. Tamil Nadu, Tirunelveli. Some of these are some places where you'll find Mesolithic. Neolithic, New Stone Age. This time the climatic conditions, Pleistocene is completely gone and it is now replaced by Holocene. Holocene is having warmer climates. Are warmer climates suitable for cultivation of plants? Yes, please. Because without rain and all these things, without good sunshine, you cannot really do much of agriculture and cultivation. Next, the main subsistence strategy now is cultivation and domestication. And now you can call them as properly food producers. Can anyone tell me what could be some changes in their society and lifestyle because of adopting this new subsistence strategy? What will happen to their populations? Increase. Why? More food available, more food is available. Next, will they really need to live that nomadic life anymore? Right. Now they are able to do agriculture. So they need not roam around here and there. So they can stay at one place for a long time. So can I say, first time the human life has become completely settled. Can I say, in Neolithic times, we see first time human communities living in a same place throughout the year. First time it is happening in human evolution. Yes, please, it is happening for the first time in Neolithic only. And in fact, that's the reason why you say it is the first time villages emerged in which period? Neolithic only. Now, commonly we all keep using the word village in daily life, yes? Do village people keep roaming around here and there, or do they stay throughout the year in one place? Village, permanent community. Village people keep roaming, migrating here and there every year. That's a permanently settled community. So can I say first villages came in which period then? Neolithic. Okay. So with this, what will be the impact on their lifestyle is populations have increased, no doubt. Next, it is permanently settled communities. First, permanently settled communities, which means it gives rise to first ever villages. First ever villages. When people are settling down in one particular area throughout the year, don't you think there will be an attachment to the land they are living? Will they start saying that this is our village, our land? Will that concept come? Yes, please. When people are always roaming here and there, they will not have an attachment with that piece of land. Okay. So what really we are going to see here is the rise of the concept of territoriality. Territoriality. What do you mean by territoriality? Is nothing but ownership of land. And they are claiming that it is our land. Now remember, it is not individual members in the community are saying this is my land. It is the whole community that is saying this is our land. So this original ownership of property of land also is communal ownership. It is a public ownership, common ownership. It is not individual ownership. And our community is claiming the ownership of that land. When people are going to stay forever at one place, will they want to now build some permanent artificial shelters like houses? Now they can build that, okay, because they know they need not go here and there. So you will see, first permanent houses, artificially built houses, they were made of what materials? Right? Hey, leaves and branches are. Leaves and branches are temporary. That was in Paleolithic times. Brick, mud bricks. Okay, na? So they were made of mainly mud bricks. And I'm using another word. Some of my students who have already attended my classes should be able to tell me, by the way. Wattle and daub. Have you heard wattle and daub any time? If you have not heard, I'm writing it down. It's your responsibility. You're going back and seeing what is a wattle and daub. Mala, don't do any research on that, okay? Just one liner, that should be sufficient. I'm saying, apart from mud bricks, they were also making some houses with using called wattle and daub. What is that? You are going back and checking it today. WATTLE and DAUB, wattle and daub. Go and check it. You actually know what is it. Okay, but when you see, you'll understand what that is exactly. So first permanent houses have also come here. Next, will these people also will want to focus on their clothing now? Now that they need not roam around here and there, they're staying at one place forever. Will they want to go for some kind of clothing? Because in Paleolithic and all, essentially humans were living almost naked. They used to live. But here you will see some kind of the first ever clothing is going to start. And anyone knows what is the place in India where first time cotton was produced? Cotton was produced in India. In fact, not in India, in the world itself. First place, Mehergarh. Have you heard Mehergarh? Yes, please. Where is it? Mehergarh. No, not in UP. Mehergarh. It's actually in today Pakistan. Okay, that was a place where the first time we see some kind of cotton cultivation, not only in India but world itself. Mehergarh. Mehergarh is the world's first cotton cultivation. World's first cotton cultivation. Now keep in mind, I am not going to do all this for the rest of the topics, okay? Only this part, because I told I will not give any handout. From Indus Valley, we will just discuss some points within the timeline and we'll keep moving forward. Next one. First ever pottery also came up during this period only. Anyone can tell me why? Pottery, store, inga. Cook, first to cook, because meat in Paleolithic times, meat can be directly cooked on fire, but you can't cook grains. Grains you cook, if you want, you need some kind of a utensil or container, okay? So you'll see the first ever pottery that's going to come here. And this first pottery is also going to come in 2 stages. Chatrana. First, how it was made. Initially, pottery was made with hands. Later on, it was made with wheel. Okay. So first it was handmade. And next it eventually became wheel turned. Wheel turned. And in Neolithic, you really don't find any painted pottery. It is all plain pottery. Painted pottery you are going to see in the Chalcolithic times. And towards the end of the Neolithic times, something interesting is going to happen. Does Neolithic have cultivation of plants? Neolithic people cultivated plants and did agriculture. Yes, obviously. When you want to do agriculture, will you have to prepare the ground first by digging it a bit?
Yes.
Clearing the overgrowth and preparing it for sowing seeds and all. In that process, is there a chance that while you're digging the ground, some people here and there might have encountered some kind of mineral ores? Chance by chance, no one really knows. Okay, just while preparing the land for cultivation, some people came across some mineral ore, and the first metal that they are going to discover is copper. So copper was discovered not in Chalcolithic. Copper was actually discovered in ending phases of Neolithic, and now when people start experimenting with that, they are eventually going to enter into the next phase called Chalcolithic. So here, the first metal to be discovered, that was copper. Important sites. Tools, first of all, tools. Anyone can tell me what are the main tools you find here? Nana? Try. No problems. Anyone? Polished tools, Nana. Correct word. Correct word is polished and ground tools. The ground means that does not mean this ground, okay? It is a past tense of the word grind. Polished, grinding. So polished and ground tools. And the technical name for that, cells. And some of the important tools that you find here in this phase will be axes. Now they are not anymore hand axes, okay? They are proper. Even in hand axe also it is stone only. But that piece of stone was directly used by your hand. But I am not writing the word hand axe. I am saying it's an axe. That cutting edge is still made of stone only, but it is already attached to a handle. It's used like this. Whereas in Paleolithic times they were using axe, but they did not have a handle. So you call it as hand axe because you are using it directly with your hand. Next, adzes. Adze is nothing but an axe itself, but with slightly a different orientation of the cutting edge. Suppose in the handle, when you put the cutting edge in one orientation, we all can visualize the axe. We all have seen an axe, we know that. Just imagine that cutting edge of that axe, the orientation is slightly changed. Instead of putting like this, you put it like this. Did you visualize that? That's an adze, if you understood that, okay? Axe, change the orientation of the cutting edge of the tool and it will become a adze. Nothing big. Next one. Anyone has heard this? What do you mean by a sickle? Sickle is used for what? Harvesting. That moon-shaped. Yes, please, that one is the sickle then. Next, why do you use an axe, by the way? Axe is to remove the tree growth above the surface before you do agriculture. For harvesting purpose, it is a sickle. And once you get the grain, you don't really consume the grain directly. Many a times you actually want to make a flour and a pindi, atta antam, that kind of a powdery kind of thing. To make that, you need some more tools. Anyone can tell me one or two tools which they used for making these powder, that flour? I'm writing here. Mortar and pestle. You might have seen, you'll say that you'll have a small bowl and you'll kind of pound it, okay? And then there is something like saddle and quern. This is a kind of a saucer kind of a thing, okay? Not very deep like a bowl, like a saucer. Here you will put some grains and with a small bar kind of a stone. If you can visualize that, okay? That was a saddle and quern. So these were some of the kinds of tools that the Neolithic people were using. Next, sites. Till recently, Mehergarh was considered the oldest Neolithic site in India. And you know the dates of this? It actually goes to 7000 BCE. Normally people use this terminology BC and AD. You can also use, instead of BC and AD, you can use BCE and CE. AD means Anno Domini and Antarate. Instead of that, people tend to use CE, Common Era. BC can be called BCE, before Common Era. 7000 BC, till recently it was considered as the oldest Neolithic site in India. But today, because of some new research that is happening, another site is taken this status. Anyone can tell me that? Kadu. Tamil Nadu also, there is an important debate. I will discuss it later. Right now. Bhirrana, which is in Haryana. Now this will not be there in your NCERTs because it is of a recent current affair addition. So if you go by NCERT, what will you say the oldest Neolithic site in India? Mehergarh. But no, it's not now. Today new research is already there. It is showing this one is coming 500 years earlier than that. 7500 BCE, Bhirrana. And which makes this as the oldest Neolithic site in India. And you know the beauty of both these sites is that it is from these sites only eventually the Indus Valley civilization comes up. Yes, please, Raki, Gadi, Vanni, all these eventually are going to give rise to what you call as Indus Valley civilization. I'm going to write a few more Neolithic sites. You can write down fastly. These are the two most important ones. Can I call Bhirrana also as the first farming site in India? Indirectly, can I ask like that also? First farming site? Yes, please, naturally. First village. Can I call Bhirrana as that also? Next, keep writing. There are two sites in Burzahom, Jammu Kashmir. Burzahom and Gufkral are in Jammu Kashmir. The most unique feature of these two sites, anyone knows? Correct here, pit dwelling. So if you give me one or two answers like that, I'll feel a bit motivated. Pit dwelling. Generally, people will build houses on the surface of the earth. But here in Jammu Kashmir, the conditions were so cold that these people chose not to build above the surface but under the surface. It was like more warmer for these people over there. Next, a few more places from Neolithic sites. Writing fastly. Chirand. It's in Bihar. There are two sites which are more important. Koldhua and Mahagara. Both of them come from Uttar Pradesh. And anyone can tell me the importance of this? First evidence of rice cultivation in India. First time. First evidence of rice cultivation in India. First evidence of rice cultivation in India. Next, a few more sites you are going to get from Karnataka region, you will get a lot of sites, Rana, but then 1 or 2 sites I'm writing from Assam, because generally we don't get much sites from there. Okay, can write down Daujali, Harding is one important site you find from Assam. And most of the sites for Tamil, Neolithic actually in India, they come from Karnataka. Why? Why you find most of the sites of Neolithic age concentrated in Karnataka? And in Karnataka, do you have good stone supply? Stone, unda. Stone. In Uttar Pradesh, will you have a lot of stone? Uttar Pradesh. Hey, geography, right? Uttar Pradesh, do you have too much of stone supply? Why? It is plain area. What about Karnataka? Does Western Ghats go through Karnataka? Yes, please. Do they have ample amount of stone? And actually, that stone is suitable for polishing. This is not every stone type is suitable for polishing. Because Karnataka stone is suitable for polishing, you do find a lot of sites, Neolithic sites concentrated in Karnataka region. A few of them I am writing here fastly. All the next sites which I am writing are coming from Karnataka only. Piklihal, Brahmagiri, Maski, Tekkal Kota. We are writing so many, na? UPSC will ask something else. They will not ask what we study. Don't know what they want from us. God knows. These are all from Karnataka. If you want, you can add Sanganakallu also.